So we are happy to have Mārtiņš Sleja. He's creative director of Mindworkrams that will tell, he will tell his story, their story, and everything concerning Mindworkrams. Make some noise, Mārtiņš Sleja.
Hi everybody, thank you for having us here. I'm Mārtiņš Sleja. I represent the Mindworkrams brand. I'm the creative director of this company, and I will tell you our story, how it all began, where we are now, and where we are heading towards in the future. To begin this whole thing, let's start with like everybody used these quotes, like these super intellectual quotes from somebody. One of my heroes all the time was the Biggie Smalls, and one of his quotes was, "It was all the dream, our business." And that's how it started, because that was all the dream in those two guys' heads. On your right, you can see a specimen by the name of Jānis Kunziņš, ex-skater, BMX rider, MTV rider, project manager, ordinary construction company, and also a glimpse of a Polish Jew blood in his veins allows him to motivate people to move forward to bigger and brighter future. Also, my partner in crime and a long time friend. The specimen on your right, it's me, Mārtiņš Sleja. I'm an ex-skater, a lifelong BMX rider, freestyle BMX rider. Also a workforce for some time in Latvian architecture culture. Also a perfectionist and a paranoid freak, so that makes us two both a good team, and also complete workaholics. And so yeah, that's how we both got together and started our own thing to do. That even makes us like a supervillains. The idea about that both of us come from the background of action sports. We wanted to do something about it since we were out there doing things and understanding that the environment that we are using for to become better in our passion was not good enough, and that was one of the things that to solve that maybe somehow we can change that thing to the better. And we wanted to formulate the idea about why do we need to do it, because the idea about that always in a society, the most risk group is the teenagers. It always has been all through the years, always, because those are the ones who are using the public space the most, and they are most of not watched over people, and they always getting into trouble and starting up something bad and not good, not for good. So that's why you need to create some sort. We needed to create some sort of public space for them. And as we know, like through the last 20 years, you cannot somehow interest in with a classical sport, like I don't know, one of the Olympic sports. They are not really into it. So that's why there comes all these extreme, or how you say it, alternative action sports, which are more related to them. So that's why we got already a formulation for our work, why we need to do it, because that would be the purpose, what anybody in the city or everybody could even hear us, that we wanted to solve the social problem. And that was pretty much a good purpose for me as I was studying architecture. But when I started learning the architecture, I didn't have a social purpose. Why do I need to do it? Okay, building houses is good, designing everything, public areas, but then I found my social problem, which I wanted to solve. The idea, and we needed the beginning. The beginning is that as any supervillain team, we needed a compound. So that's our beginning, and the beginning was at the year of 2007, just the year after the global economic collapse, and that's left like a negatively positive changes in warehouse space renting prices. So that's how we came up to this place, which now looks completely different. That is just 10 years old photos from the place which started the project by the name of Monster Parks. Anybody local should be familiar with it. They call the project Monster Park, which is one of the biggest Baltic indoor skate parks, and also a compound for us. So since the rent was low, we scrambled all our money, and by the big helping hand from our own society, that anybody can come up and help us to build this place. And since like 7 months out of a year, you cannot ride outside. Everybody was willing to help, and that pretty much got us that far that we got this project up and running. That is us, and that is behind us. That's the result of what we came up to. But with the project Monster Park, also I wanted to mention those two guys which are coming also on the team. On your left far, that's Davis, and in the middle with us is Mikus. I would say Mikus is one of the stones of Latvian alternative culture. I know the Ghetto gay guys are really familiar with Mikus. He's also a workaholic, and he's a. If the Latvian alternative culture would have an Illuminati clan, then Mikus would be on it, I would say. And yeah, so these two guys came up on a team and helped us to organize events and put out some venues, and also helped us to grow our culture bigger and better. And that's how we started to understand that how big is even our own society, which we are willing to provide with some sort of skate parks or anything that we are willing to do in the future. So yeah, and after Monster Park project, there was a lot of thinkers pointed at us from the riders' perspective, since a lot of the guys were asking their governments that they wanted to build that they needed some skate park to also progress in their sports, because not all of them were living in Riga. They were living in the regions around Riga and further and closer, and everybody was starting to go to the municipalities and telling, hey, we have this great project going on, Monster Parks. Maybe we can build something for us that we don't need to go every day there because it's too expensive. And so a lot of fingers were pointed at us as the governments raised the question about, okay, we were willing to do the skate park, but who's understanding anything about skate parks? So that was the moment when everybody was telling, go to the guys from the Monster Car. So we started the work with the municipalities and the governments, since our background of the works was me as an architecture company and Jānis in the construction. A lot of our knowledge helped to work with the governments and the city municipalities, because we all know who's ever been involved with municipalities is a lot of bureaucracy to get the project done, and that what comes pretty handy in it. And so yeah, we started to build a lot of skate parks at that moment, and it's completely normal that me and Jānis could not handle that thing, and we needed the working force. And to search for a working force, we were not like searching for carpenters or welders or steel workers or whatever, because we understand as we get to live in our little teenage fairy tale about that some point we were skaters and BMXers, and now we are living through to like already over our 20s, and we are still in the same old fairy tale that we can do what we love and still earn some money to feed our families and pay our bills. Why not to give that to our own inner circle guys? So that's how we started. Like you see in that picture, pretty much 90% of the guys are either skaters, either BMXers, or inline skaters. So yeah, we just gave the social opportunity to our own guys to have the normal life and still be in the industry. That you don't need to go outside of it just to pay your bills. You can still be in it, do it what you love, and that was it. It just came somehow naturally from us. It wasn't a special purpose that we wanted it, but at the end, if you look at it, like who can build a better skate park than skaters themselves? Because they understand fully what they wanted, how they want it. This seam needs to be like that, and that screw needs to go like there. So at the end, and they are willing to finish it quicker because they wanted to ride it afterwards. So yeah, and we have been working already for 10 years on different sorts of projects and different sort of action sports events. Like this one is from a Simple Session, and you will hear Aristo also talking about that. And our love for our work and workaholicism has brought us in many different points of the globe. Us and our team, right now, our team is one of our teams is in Hong Kong, building up skate park right now at this moment. But that our love to our work has brought us to the guys who are standing at the beginnings of the whole action sport thing. Because on this picture, I don't know if anybody's familiar, but that in the corner is Matt Hoffman. Matt Hoffman is like the granddad of all BMX freestyle. That guy has broken more bones than even I have in my body, I think. So yeah, that is one of the things that it just pays off. At some point, I never thought that building skate parks will bring me to the people that I was admiring in my teenager years, but that's where it brings. And speaking about our works, maybe I will show you. we were growing up as skaters, there wasn't a lot of skate parks around, and not even a skate spots, because Riga is pretty flat, if we can say it like that. It's not like Barcelona. And as a skater in the teenager years, you live constantly out of your comfort zone. You don't care where the spot is. You just go to it. You don't care it's in a bad area, it's near the highway, or it's near the railways. You just go to the spot because it is there. And that's the same as you build a skate park in designated areas, and there's a skate park, and there's not a lot of them in Latvia, and everybody goes there. And at the place where before there was 0 people, now in the summertime there's like 100 kids running around. And when you have 100 kids running around, no drug addict or homeless people wanting to hang out there. So that makes a skate park or a youth park functioning as a public, as a social filter for these areas. And the bottom picture is also featured in Latvian Architectural Magazine, and had an article about how the skate parks can be these social filters. If you want, you can look it up. The next thing is about the future. What is the future of these whole things and what we are doing? Since we know that action sports and all sorts of alternative sports are here for good. They are not going anywhere, definitely. The culturing is getting bigger, and everybody is, even here, we are talking about alternative sports. So that brings us to the point where the classical sports are a little bit left in the backspace. And even Olympics now are willing to go to the alternative sports, since skateboarding and BMX freestyle are already considered as a Japan official part of it. And then we're getting back to this guy, because it was just a dream. And now we are already speaking about the Olympics. And for ourselves, as we still repeating that, as action sports progress, we progress with them. And throughout the years, we are already not building just skate parks. We are building skate parks, velo parks, urban action sport areas, action sports centers like these. And since the 10-year mark passed for our compound, we are also moving that one now. And we are building up a completely new, more active center, like more towards training facility center in Riga, which are pretty much opening in next spring. We hopefully everybody will like it, because there will be not just the skate parks and not just foam pits, but also like a training facility where the main reason that we want to achieve is that in educational level, because to give the opportunities to the kids who are more willing to do action sports than classical sports, that they can choose this center to go there and participate in the action sports instead of classical sports, like they're already in the schooling program. And that will be the main purpose of it. Let's hope that will come true, and that is just an example. So we will hope that will be pretty much good example for everybody else and other cities and other countries, because we know the sports is growing and it's not going anywhere, and just make it for the kids to train safe here. Thank you all for your time and for having us. And that was our story.
So you plan to add BMX freestyle into school programs?
That would be like the
ultimate goal.
Ultimate goal, but like the thing is more about that. Just to try in the Riga region, just to try to get into the schooling program, that guys, instead of running around circles, they can go to this center and participate in BMX freestyle or skateboarding. But that's not including just skating around or just riding around the bikes. That includes like a physical trainings, mentally trainers, everything like that. That will be the initial goal, but we will see how it goes.
I see it going. It's great, actually. But have you any feedback from schools already?
Not yet. That is in the process. Right now, we have in our own project Monster Parks, which is at the place where I told you. Right now we have like these own-based schools, which is like inline school, skateboard school, and BMX school for the kids who can just come and take it as a off-school program, like for like the same you go to the football or basketball, but we just want to take that even further.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Let's hope.
You started it in Monster Park, right?
Yes.
Before that, and right now you continue in new place.
We are moving the Monster Park to the new place.
Is it already ready?
No, as I already told, it's gonna be hopefully ready next spring. We have the whole winter to do it.
Okay, so everybody are welcome next spring. Actually, this spring, 2018.
Yeah.
So you are welcome to Latvia back again.
For sure.
So Lorenzo.
Because in these 2 days we're discussing a lot about how the Olympics getting into street sports are, giving us goods and bads. My question is, you are in this development and building part business since a quite while. Do you think, or what's your feeling about being at the Olympics with skateboarding is helping not just your business, but the development of the structure? I mean, it's the government, the mayor of the cities, more interesting in building something that can develop this sport now that these sports are Olympics? Because back in Italy, I was proposing to the sport committee about building a urban park. And at the very beginning, they were like, no way. Then I was explaining them that maybe the idea of having a kind of federal park, developing people, road to the Olympics with the street basket and skateboarding was a kind of cool idea. And maybe I was like trying to pass through this way. So what's your feeling about this?
There's like two opinions. My personal one and then the business one.
I want to hear too.
Your personal first, I think.
My personal is that it's somehow also combines with my business thinking. Like the skateboarding. Let's take the skateboarding for example. You can never cut out the core skaters of the skateboarding. It's just no way, because that's the whole movement which is built it off. Because like those guys who were drinking beer at the poolside and shredding the balls, they will be always the guys like that. And then there's the other side. There's these new kids who just want to skate. They don't want to do nothing with the punk music and drinking beer or anything. They just, I don't know, want to hear Britney Spears and still skate. And that's okay with that. Okay, so also, all right, why not? And for the skateboardings and action sports going to Olympics, I would say it's definitely helping, as you said, because it's a lot easier discussions with the governments, because now they understand, because we have been growing from that culture and we know every part of it, but like the people who are sitting in the governments in the cities, they don't get it, because you are just another one random guy who's walked to them and said, hey, my sport is the best one. Like the next one can come up, I don't know, whatever, paintball guy, and said, this is going to be the next big thing. But as soon as the television shows that this is all right, because like the Olympics, it's one of the most, I think, the biggest sports event, and I think the popularity of the snowboarding after the Olympics also rising. That was already big, but now it's rising even more. Like since the snowboard is in the Olympics, and that's definitely helping for the dialogue with the cities and everything, because you are taking that will be in the Olympics, and then maybe we should build this facility, since I will remind that the only one BMX race Olympic gold medalist is Mārtiņš Sleja, and he's a Latvian from the small country in the eastern north part of Europe. It's really new, and everybody gets the chance, and why not to take it? Because if the Latvian can skateboarding Olympic gold medalists, I would be glad for that, because everybody has it. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, and as I said, there's always going to be a core side to it, which are going to say, "Oh, that sucks. It's selling out and everything." Yeah, but if you want some sort of a growth to it, you need to do it. That would be it.
I love this point about the small countries that have a chance. Yeah, because if we're talking about the street sports or alternative, it's not such big budget is needed to do that.
Yeah, hi Mārtiņš. Not actually a question, but to kind of give more perspective to Lorenzo's question, there was this thing, actually, you just mentioned Street League. Actually, the newest concrete skate park in Latvia, in Riga, the one on Baro on the street, it's basically a street league kind of skate park. So it was built in close collaboration with the local skateboarding federation by their kind of command. So it had to have all these kind of obstacles that looked basically the same or were kind of similar to what will be supposedly used in the Olympics. So the local youth can kind of get used to that kind of to parks of that kind of level and try to progress to an Olympic gold medal at some point.
Yeah, that's completely true. That is also our work. Just by the work size of it, I just forgot about that point. That's true. Yeah, that was in a close collaboration with Latvian Skateboards Federation, and there was these not like rules but guidelines which they're willing we're willing to succeed about, that guys could, from all sorts of experience, can go and train their hardest and push the limits to their sports even further. So yeah.
Make some noise for Mārtiņš Sleja.
Thank you for having us.
Mindwork ramps. So if you want to build ramps in your backyard, also, yeah, you can share the number and ask him. Okay, paldies.